Bill Bland, and this is 5 Minute Money. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk a little bit about subject to. Subject to refers to buying property subject to the existing financing. When you buy a property subject to, you don't have to jump through the hoops of a mortgage company. Your credit is generally not important. You may or may not have a down payment depending on what you've negotiated with the seller, and it allows you to be able to get a piece of property even if you've gone through a bankruptcy, a foreclosure, or whatever. If you can make that subject to deal, it means that you're going to buy the property and it is subject to, which means you understand that it already has a mortgage on it and that you're going to be paying that mortgage. So it is an agreement, but it does not make you legally responsible to pay that mortgage. If, for whatever reason, you default on that mortgage, the bank does not come after you. It comes after the person who originated the loan. You are not originating a loan. You're not paying any points. You're not paying title and escrow. You're not doing a lot of those things. You might do an escrow, depending on how you do it. You can do a tabletop close or you can do an escrow. But subject to is a very, very powerful way to be able to buy multiple properties. Because sometimes, a lender only wants to lend you so much. At one time, I think I had 17 countrywide loans back in the day. And at once, and you know what? When I said I wanted to buy another piece of property, did they want to do another loan for me, or did I seem like a risk? I seemed like a pretty bad risk because I already had so many loans going on. But you could buy property subject to. Now, who's going to sell you a property subject to, you might ask? Well, sometimes you can find people that need to sell for whatever reason. Maybe there was a brand new construction and the builder built phase 1 and they're still working on phase 2, and maybe this guy had bought in phase 1 towards the end of it. Phase 2 is still going on. They've lived in the house for a year. They're going to sell the exact same house for about the exact same money. This person didn't put hardly anything down on it per se, so he doesn't have any real equity. And if you're going to buy, if you're an average person, you're a homeowner, are you going to buy the one that's a used house, or does your wife want the brand new phase 2 proper house that nobody's ever lived in, that she can pick the countertops and the drapes and the carpet? It's a tough competition, isn't it? So what might make that guy want to sell the property, or what might make it desirable for you to buy it, is if he's willing to leave his financing in place. And he may not leave it in place forever, but you can negotiate that. What if you're in an uptrending market and somebody has to get out from under the house, and you say, well, tell you what, I will buy it subject to, but only for 60 months. So after 60 months, I'll either retail the property out or I will refinance it. So they're only at risk of having their credit at stake for 60 months. That might be a good deal, depending on what you're giving as a down payment or depending on their situation. Maybe they're in foreclosure and you're going to bring them current. You're going to stop that foreclosure and you're going to rehab their credit by making those payments every month. There's a lot of ways to buy subject to. I'm sure it would probably surprise you, but I've had more houses given to me than I could tell you stories about today. Houses given subject to. They had their financing in place, but I gave them no money because either the property didn't have a lot of equity in it or it needed fix up or whatever, but I was able to act quickly. I was able to bring them current, and many people decided that was better than struggling with the property they had. Another motivation might be, what if a guy owes $300,000 on their property? Maybe it was a $290,000 mortgage, but they're $10,000 behind, so it's $300,000. What if the house would only sell at top dollar for $305,000? And now they go to a realtor and they say, will you list this property for me? And the realtor says, I need to get a 6% commission. 6% on $300,000 is $18,000. Does the guy have $18,000 of room in the house? He absolutely does not. So the realtor might not take it. And that's only if you got top dollar. Do people come in and want to offer top dollar most of the time? Or do they want to start a little lower? And hopefully that you'll come down and they can get a bargain. Because nobody wants to pay too much for property, right? I'll pay too much for property if I get the right deal. Because if I can get ease of ownership and I can bring that guy current for his $10,000 and I can put a tenant in there that might either make very close to paying the mortgage, or I can lease option the property and get someone to pay even more for the property each month to cover the mortgage, that's awesome for me. Because if I hold the property for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, and it doesn't cost me any money out of my pocket, I can get that appreciation. Later sell the property and walk away with a good payday. So I might overpay just to get ease of ownership. But the concept is called subject to. When you hear about it, at least you'll know a little bit more about it. And we'll be talking about things in further episodes that get into some more details. I'm Bill Bland. This is 5 Minute Money, and I really appreciate you checking us out. Go to 5minutemoney.com and you can see all of our videos. Thank you.